Hello there guys, it's Stephen here back with another video and another roundup of all the news from the world of Manchester City is of course the dreaded international break. So I'm going to be just catching up on all the news at the moment because that's all we can do. Before I run through all the topics at the bottom though, I want you to watch this clip from the new Super 6 Hold the L video. We're talking about England's best number 10.
Statistically, Mason Mount is the weakest link out of the four. And that's statistics throughout the course of this season. If I run off some of the statistics this season alone, but the stats do support that.
I need to hear this.
An attacking midfielder, an attacking midfielder, well, first and foremost, an attacking midfielder is judged by the chances they create and everything else. He has less chances created than all of the players that we're mentioning. He has less assists than all of the players that we're mentioning. He has less goals than all of the players that we are mentioning. He has played more minutes than every single player we are mentioning, and his statistics are worse.
Never thought I'd see a time where DT turned into stat DT, Opta DT there, talking about Maddison over Mount. The debate was all about who England's best number 10 potentially is. Is it Grealish? Is it our very own Phil Foden? Is it James Maddison or Mason Mount? And I don't want to hold the L, guys. I was voting for Phil Foden, of course, so go and support me in the comments over on Super 6's latest Hold the L video. You can find it in the link in the description. So show Phil Foden some love, man. Get also in the community tab and vote for anyone but me. Probably for me, it would actually be Maddison, in contrary to DT's little stat outburst there. I feel, honestly, that Mount and Foden and Grealish all do something a little bit more unique than compared to Maddison. Maddison's a very good player, don't get me wrong, but if one person was staying at home, for me, it probably would be Maddison. Either way, let me know down in the comments who you would take personally out of those four, and who would be sat home, and who is the best number 10 for England out of those four players. But either way, go watch the video, the full video, in the link in the description below, and give Foden and me a little bit of love over there. Give the video a like as well. So let's get on to today's news. We're going to start initially with some Denis Zakaria news. Now, if you don't know much about Denis Zakaria, well, he played us the other day, so where have you been? Well, have you not been paying attention? He's a Monchengladbach midfielder, and he's a very good Monchengladbach midfielder. And the latest news today comes from Bild. Apparently, Gladbach reckon they can only get around 20 million euros for the player, which is half than less than what they expected due to injuries, his contract, and the COVID-19 pandemic affecting the market at the moment, which is terrible news for Mönchengladbach, but very good news for any potential suitors for this very good box-to-box midfielder, one that Manchester City have been paying an awful lot of attention to. I've heard personally that this interest in Zakaria is real, and this is interesting because I really rate this guy. Now, he did have a very serious injury, but he has been back for 2 or 3 months now, playing football semi-regularly. I don't think he's quite found his best form, but he is a very good player, and many people see him as a potential Fernandinho replacement, a long-term option as a Fernandinho replacement, and a very different take on the midfield role, the number 6 role that Rodri offers. Rodri is more, I would say, more towards the Busquets role, with a little bit of physicality thrown in. He's more of a reading the game kind of player, where Fernandinho was a little bit more all action. But I say there's room for both type of players in a squad like Manchester City's. And someone like Zakaria, who could come into Manchester City and potentially offer that different take on the role, for a price exceptionally cheap, well, for me, that's potentially worth it. I mean, we've got to look, the last time we paid around 20 million euros for a player who was injury prone, he was a complete midfielder from the Bundesliga, Mr. Ilkay Gundogan. And the reason I like an idea like this is that he's an absolute bargain potentially, and there would be no rush for him to be useful straight away. When you've got a player for around 20 million euros potential, which is an absolute bargain, you don't need them to come in the first team immediately, you know. We've got Rodri there. We've got Gundogan who could play in that role. I also got Tommy Doyle and Romo Lavia. So basically, if Zakaria came in, he'd be absolute zero risk with potentially loads and loads of game, because Zakaria is a fantastic player. Now, he was talking as well, Zakaria. This is a quote for him. He said, "There's a lot of speculation, but I'm still under contract until 2022. I've always said that I want to take a step out in my career one day, but there's a season to finish first, and I'm focused on that." He's pretty obviously going to move if he gets a chance to move to a club that he feels is a step up for him. And rightfully so, to be honest. I mean, he's at the stage of his career now as a 24-year-old. He's 25 in November, where he could learn an awful lot if he moved on. What I like about Zakaria is his game is all energy, all action, and he's a big guy as well. He's tall, he's powerful, he's fast, he's got an awful lot to his game, and he's already shown that he can play at a pretty high level as well. And he was good against City as well, of course. No, obviously, Mönchengladbach couldn't really lay a finger on City that day, but he was still pretty good. Either way, way, if this happens, I think we could have got ourselves a bargain. I'm not desperate for a replacement for Fernandinho, by the way. I do think the idea of Fernandinho staying is a pretty good thing, given the fact that we've got some very good young players. But if this comes off, you get the Stephen thumbs up, definitely. The next bit of news I want to talk about is Nuno Mendes. Fabrizio Romano was talking on his podcast today, and he said that City prefer Nuno Mendes over Gosens. They are apparently convinced that Mendes would be perfect, but he obviously would cost an awful lot of money. Now, basically, City are talking to the representatives of the player, the 18-year-old fullback, according to Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, Mr. Here We Go knows a thing or two about transfers, but they won't pay the €70 million asking fee for the left back, understandably. When I was chatting to Asan yesterday on this very good video, if I don't say so myself, go watch this afterwards. Me and Asan did an hour podcast talking about all the Manchester City transfers. One of the things we talked about was the idea of Nuno Mendes coming from Manchester City and Pedro Porro. If you don't know much about Pedro Porro, he's a player that's currently on loan from the City Football Group and Manchester City at Nuno Mendes' club at Sporting, and basically he could be used as a mate weight. Basically, he could be used as an option to give him renege this buyback clause and maybe get someone like Mendes for 40 million plus Pedro Porro, which is a great deal potentially for Sporting because they get a player also probably worth about 40 million, maybe 30 million, and Pedro Porro would be a great deal given the fact that Pedro Porro has just broken into the Spain squad. Either way, it does feel like the Nuno Mendes interest is real. Now, apparently, according to as well to Mano, we do prefer him over Robin Gosens, the Atalanta fullback. He's a very good player as well. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't be surprised either way if City are looking at this wonder kid of a left back and thinking, I could do with a little bit of that because he's a very good player, one to definitely keep an eye on. The next thing, FFP could be in the mud. Now, this is very much a rumour still, so don't get... These are all rumours, by the way, of course. You know, this is just my takes on the rumours going around in the world of football today. But this has come from Mr. Boom, Tancredi Palmieri himself. He's a controversial journalist. Sometimes he talks nonsense, sometimes he talks a lot of noise. And he said today that UEFA... will be announcing a new system of financial control that will leave much more freedom of spending to clubs, which basically means financial fair play would be over as we know it. And I would not be surprised if this is a reaction to the pandemic and a reaction to loads of the established clubs. I don't want to go full tinfoil hat agenda here, but lots of the established clubs, the bigger ones, historically bigger ones, moaning that they haven't got any money at the moment and hoping that UEFA will allow them to be a little bit gentler so they can spend loads of money and get in more debt than you already are. And I would not be surprised if this is actually true. What would that mean for Man City? Well, it means we can flex that good old financial green stuff that we've got. We could definitely flex the money a little bit more. But it would, of course, I guess, mean that other clubs could do the same. So it would open the market in a very different way. But I do feel if it came down to a pure money flex, there ain't many clubs doing better than Manchester City on that front. Be very interesting to see financial fair play dead, though, because I've always felt that was nothing more than just a way to protect the big clubs who could spend loads of money compared to the little ones who couldn't really find a way to kind of change the funds enough, if that makes sense. But either way, teams like Aston Villa would love this, given their owners and people, and owners and current financial backings. It'd be very interesting. Finally, I want to talk about a few interesting things, actually. Safe standing. Now, there's loads going on at Manchester City. I'm going to get on safe standing in a minute. I also going to get onto the idea of actually 8,000 Man City fans being at Wembley as well. So there's loads of kind of like fan news, basically. I'm going to start with that initially. According to TalkSport, where it's breaking news, the Carabao Cup final will be played in front of 8,000 fans, which would be split between Man City and Spurs fans, NHS staff and local residents. Good luck getting a ticket for that. But either way, fans in the final will be wonderful, even if it is just a meager 8,000. It'd be wonderful to see fans back in there. If you get a ticket, good luck, and I hope you enjoy it. But also, the other big news, of course, is that the club confirmed today in an official statement that this summer they'll start installing 5,620 rail seats in the lower tier of the Etihad Stadium's south stand, including the southeast and southwest corners, which is incredible. Man City fans have been asking for absolutely ages, and football fans in general have been asking for absolutely ages about the introduction of safe standing. I remember going to Celtic Park and seeing the safe standing there, thinking that's fantastic. And obviously, if you sit around that general area near the away fans at the Etihad, you'll know people just don't sit down anyway. So this makes it safer with the rails there. It's just a better idea by a long way. It's a much better idea. The people will know what they're getting if they go there. They'll have none of the issues about certain fans moaning about people standing, and you'll have none of the issues with the stewards. It just makes sense in so much ways, and it could also help the atmosphere as well. You're more inclined to sing, I would say, if you stood up doing that than you are sit down with your hands on your lap, I reckon. Either way, it's fantastic. Of course, as well, there's the news about the second tier of LED screens going in around the bottom of the Etihad, which I'm not really keen on, a big tall LED board, but there may be some seats going as well at the bottom, but it is what it is, and it'll generate some money. And also as well, they're going to resurface the pitch, which has been interesting because Guardiola's been moaning about it. But either way, that is your Man City News Daily. We're going to have some fans at the Carabao Cup final. It's going to be safe standing. Zakaria could join for a bargain basement fee. Nuno Mendes could be the one at left back, and of course financial fair play could be in the mud. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I want to say thank you, of course, to all the patrons currently scrolling down the side of the screen, and thank you to my Patreon producer Ahmed Al-Ali, an absolute legend. Go watch that Super 6 video and go and give me a little bit of love in the comments, and of course vote for everyone else. I don't want to hold the L, guys. I don't want to hold it. I shouldn't, because it's Phil Foden, man. Like, Phil Foden is qualities, we all know, but go and support me anyway, and go and watch that video yesterday. An hour of incredible, if I don't say so myself, transfer chat with me and Asam. For now though, like, comment, subscribe. You're all awesome. Catch you in a bit.